Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Afia Sports Review Show on Afia TV. Of course, the frequencies still remain the same. On this wonderful Monday, the 22nd day of September, the year of our Lord 2025, the frequencies are on Channel 254, DSTV, Channel 17, GoTV, and Channel 748, Free TV. Welcome to the show, guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I know that this week is going to be gracious, glorious, and grand for everyone who is listening to us especially. Welcome. My name is Cici Emechebe. Of course, it hasn't changed. It's not changing anytime soon. And I'm also known as Cici the Rabbi. And I'm not doing this alone on this wonderful evening on a Monday. Divine, the definitor himself, Divine Onwuka.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you here.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure and honor and privilege to be here, sir.
Okay, I would have said happy resumption, but I don't know. Your children resumed today. I have 3. My eldest went to secondary school today for the first time, and looking at you, I know you can't relate.
Okay, let's just move ahead, I beg. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, it's great to be here. Don't mind me. I always like to pull some legs every now and then. All right, guys, so it's good to be here. We're going to talk about a number of things today. So much has been happening in the world of sports, particularly football. But we'll start, of course, with the headlines. The first bit of headline news we have has to do with the NPFL because, of course, charity always begins at home. In the Nigerian Premier Football League, we can tell you right now that Enyimba Football Club have still retained, after match week 5, their top spot in the Nigerian NPFL table, having gotten a victory over Balon Insurance, 3-2. Somebody in the studio here is celebrating. Yeah. Obviously, he's of Abia origin, I can tell. So Enyimba, the People's Elephant of Enyimba, they got a 3-2 win against Balon Insurance. So that is actually what's happening right now, the NPFL. Then the second bit of news we have has to do with the fact that finally Ademola Lookman, the current African Player of the Year, was reintegrated into the Atalanta squad just this past weekend when Atalanta made a trip to Turin, not to play Juventus, but to play the other side of Turin, which is Torino, and they beat them 3-2. Lookman played 3 minutes plus extra time because he came off the bench in the 87th minute and then showed that he was integrated back into the squad after the, should I say, face-off between the Atalanta management hierarchy and Lookman's camp because he was angling for a move to Inter Milan, which did not materialize before the transfer window ended. Then, of course, the FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup qualifiers are ongoing, but currently the Super Falconets, that is the under-20 side for the ladies, beat their hosts Rwanda 1-0 in the first leg of the second qualifying round of the World Cup 2026. Remember, the World Cup is going to take place, the FIFA World Cup 2026, under-20 World Cup will take place next year. And the Super Falconets, I call them Super Falconets because that is what they are. They have earned that moniker. They had to do this the hard way, beating the host Rwanda 1-0 in Kigali. The second leg of this second round of qualifiers will take place this Saturday, and it will take place at home in Nigeria here, where they hope to do the double over Rwanda. And that's that for the headlines. We go straight to the business of the day, beginning with the NPFL. Now, of course, we know that the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, it's not at the business end. Far from it. This is just match week 5. And like I always say, in a football league, the league is not a sprint, but rather a marathon. So marathons focus more on stamina than speed. And the most successful side in Nigerian football, that is Enyimba International, have been up to speed in terms of setting the pace and maintaining the pace so far. So you have the results there. There are some games, 4 games in particular, that were not played this weekend. We'll talk more about that because of their continental engagements. But if you look at the table, you see how the table stands, and then you see the results that came out there. There are 4 teams that did not play, referring to Remo Stars, because of their involvement in the CAF Champions League first preliminary round. Likewise, Rivers United, who are runners-up last season, they also had CAF Champions League first preliminary round engagements. Likewise, Abia Warriors and Kwara United, they did not play their game because they had also the CAF Confederations Cup first preliminary round. But we had other results there in the NPFL, beginning, of course, with the games that played, referring to That's El Kanemi Warriors. They beat Warrior Wolves by 1-0. And then Bayelsa United lost at home at the Samson Siasa Stadium to Nasarawa United. The game ended 2-1. Niger Tornadoes, that was the highest scoring affair in the game of the weekend, with Niger Tornadoes against Oga Boys, Ikorodu City, showing them that they are Oga Boys, not Oga Men, 4-2. And then you had Shooting Stars of Ibadan beating Kun Khalifat 2-1. Then, like I said, the Kwara United, Plateau United game was postponed. Likewise, the Enugu Rangers and Abia Warriors game, second Oriental derby of the season for Rangers, was postponed. Then Barao FC's game up against Rivers United was also postponed. But we also had Enyimba, like I said earlier, beating Bendel Insurance 3-2. And Katsina United, as we speak, are leading Wiki Tourists by 1-0 in the Northern Derby. That's the game, the only game for today. It started by 4 p.m. So they're in the second half, currently in the 53rd minute, 1-0. So that's how the NPFL is looking right now. Coming to you, Divine, normally you find out that this has become a recurring theme every season out. You find out that the teams that are involved in continental engagement end up having a backlog of games in hand because of their involvement. This is just the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League qualifying, and then also CAF Confederations Cup for the teams that qualify for that. So they are likely to get to a point where within this season, some teams, one or two of these teams, depending on how far they go into the tournament, may even have up to 4, maybe even 5 games in hand.
Outstanding games.
Yes, and looking at the table, one may get a bit confused and say, is this not the team that won the league, like Remo Stars, for instance? Why are they so far off the pace? But they don't look at the table and see that. But like I always say, a game in hand is not 3 points in the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no guarantee at all. Like people normally say that a bird in the hand is what you in the bush. That's the reality here. But you have, what's your take regarding this? We need to understand, how do the managers that are involved in this navigate their way? How do they balance things? The continental involvement, especially if they want to go far. Will there come, and the second question I want to ask right now is this. No, from a managerial perspective, what do you think? Do you think let's say a team would want to prioritize one tournament over the other? Like, for instance, look at Remo Stars now. Remo Stars have a decent shot at qualifying for the qualifying for the deep stages of the CAF Champions League. We'll get to their results very soon, because they are the only ones that got a commanding win against Zilimaju, but we'll get to that. But Remo Stars, could it be a situation of them maybe daring to dream like Enyimba did when Enyimba won the Champions League last time around? That was some 22 years ago.
When Victor Waneri and Vincent Enyimba and
exactly.
the rest, that particular set
that squad. So could it get to a point where you have to prioritize? You can't handle both because of maybe your squad depth or lack thereof. You have to choose between defending your title in the NPFL
or going for something higher.
Going all the way for the Champions League. What do you think?
It's just like Champions League, like UEFA Champions League, and then your own domestic league, maybe Premier League or La Liga, depending on the country that you play for. Well, I'll see it this way. If you have enough squad depth, I'm talking from a managerial aspect of it. If you have a very good squad depth, if you know how to rotate your players, if you're sure that the substitutes can give you a result that is as good as that of the starters or something nearer to what the starters can give, then you can balance both of them. Make sure your two goalkeepers, both your first choice and your second choice goalkeeper, are good in between the sticks. Make sure that you know that if you use half of your starters and half of your substitution, you still get all 3 points from whoever you're playing against, whether it's a big team or a small team or a derby game or whatsoever situation you find yourself in.
But that's easier said than done. Like we're all saying, this part of the world, better soup than money killer. So how do we balance that? No, you cannot say that anyhow. But if you don't have a squad there, you don't have a solid squad there, you don't have a solid squad there.
That's what I'm saying. If that's why I added that word. If the manager is sure to train his team well, to make sure that the substitutes Because that's what we talk about. When we talk about squad depth, that means your substitute is as good as your starters. Yes. You can decide one day that maybe, okay, you've started about 3 games. Oh yeah, wait, let this person start. Let's see what you have. And then the person starts and boom, he drops a masterclass in the game. Oh, you'll be like, oh, okay, we have something to hold on to. Yes. If this guy is injured, supposing, let's not even say if he's not available, if he's injured then yes, this guy can actually go in and still drop a masterclass and won't even miss the starter that has been starting games since. Okay. So if the manager can work on that, then we are sure that he or she can balance the boat. I'm talking about Remo Stars, so to speak. Then sure there can be balance in the team. Then secondly, if it comes to prioritizing the CAF for the NPFL, definitely Remo Stars hasn't actually won the CAF Champions League. I don't know if they have. If they have,
only Enyimba has won it. It's only Enyimba that has won it. Yes.
Okay, good. So, for the sake of priorities, of course, they wouldn't want to do so bad in the NPFL. Let's still not forget that NPFL is also an important league on its own. So they wouldn't want to do so bad in the NPFL. They wouldn't want to lose their top spots just in case if they fall short in the CAF. Yes. They wouldn't want to do so bad in the at least they will still want to get that top 4, top 3 level so that they can go for CAF. They can try next season. So the thing there is, as they are looking at CAF, which is aiming to get into Africa, aiming to be the champions of Africa, to rule Africa once again, just 22 years after Enyimba. It's been a long time though. Yes. So based on as they want to get far in Africa, they shouldn't forget that NPFL is still there. So they can actually prioritize the CAF over the NPFL, but they shouldn't do so bad in the NPFL if they fall short early. Okay. Let's say they couldn't get to the knockout, but eventually they can't get to the knockout rounds of the CAF. They shouldn't do so bad in the NPFL, so they can try again next season. Amend their maybe whatever made them fall out in the group stage. If they live in the group stage, whatever made them fall short in the group stage, they'll work on it and come back stronger next season.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that what you're trying to point out is you don't try to shoot or try to kill the golden goose that lays the golden egg.
Exactly.
Because in this case, the golden egg in question is a CAF Champions League qualification.
Yeah, exactly,
Because if not for the goose rather, which is the league. If they had not won the league, talk about Remo Stars. If Rivers United had not finished second, they wouldn't even be in the discussion concerning the CAF.
Exactly.
I understand exactly what you're trying to say. Now, this is what I'll say before we go to the next point.
Okay.
You are Remo Stars now. You are Daniel Ogumedede.
Yeah.
For Remo Stars.
Remo Stars.
You are Finidi George.
Yeah.
For Rivers United.
Yeah, for Rivers United.
You are Imam Amapakabu for Afia
Warriors.
Then for some reason I've forgotten the name of the manager, but I remember that's for Kwara United. But I remember very soon. Okay. You're one of these managers.
Yeah.
And you have a choice to make in terms of prioritizing and then giving one tournament more value or more focus.
Exactly.
Which would it be?
For me?
For you?
I would pick CAF. Yeah, I'll pick CAF because I know definitely I'll come back next year to play the league. I know how the league works. I've had the experience.
What if you get relegated like those who were there before?
No, definitely they won't get relegated. Now, at least I'm not saying I'm putting my whole stake on that, but I just have this hunch that Remo Stars, Rivers United, and Kwara United, right?
Yes.
And then Afia Warriors as well. Exactly. I'm somehow sure. I just have that hunch that they won't see themselves within the basement side of the NPFL. So they should prioritize that CAF more. That's why I said earlier, as you're looking at the CAF, as you're prioritizing CAF, don't do so badly in the NPFL so that next year you can still be in a position to say, okay, yes, I have CAF. Let me build on my squad depth and let me build on making the substitutes as strong as the starters. If you fail this season, you failed. You have to prepare for next season.
Okay, well spoken. So I think let's just hope that they don't resort to vibes and inshallah and any other thing. Okay, so that's that for the NPFL and the continental engagements. Now, we are talking about the continental engagements of these teams we mentioned. Remo Stars, who won the league last season, Rivers United, who are runners-up, Abia Warriors, who finished third, then getting, of course, into the CAF Confederations Cup first preliminary round, and then Kwara United, who are the winners of the President's Federation Cup. They did that, and they beat Abakaliki FC in the final, which was what gave them the right to qualify for the CAF Confederations Cup, that last slot. Now, they featured this weekend, and like I said, the matches were postponed because of these matches in question, and had varying levels of results there. The biggest winners out of all four were Remo Stars. They played host to Zilimaju in the CAF Champions League first preliminary round and battered them and bruised them, made them look like they didn't even have parents. 4-0. It was a 4-0 thrashing that they handed out to them there. That Zilimaju suffered a 4-0 thrashing in the first leg, and the return leg will come soon. We are going to see whether they'll, not a matter of if but when, because I don't see Zilimaju overturning that deficit, too massive a deficit to overturn. Then, of course, Rivers United were held to a goalless draw against the FC Ledge of DRC Congo. It was a goalless draw. That was what happened there. That's for the Champions League. So Rivers United have a tough situation to get themselves out of. Tight, very, very dicey group point. They need to get a win in the return leg. But against the team that's Kwara United, who are the current President's Federations Cup winners, have a mountain to climb. Not a very big mountain, but it was a loss. A 7-goal thriller that they were at the wrong end of when they faced Ghana's Asante Kotoko. They lost 4-3 away from home, and they'll have to welcome them back to their home ground and then try to overturn that deficit. While Abia Warriors, who finished third, the first team to grab a spot in the CAF Confederations Cup, ended up having a 1-1 draw against Joliba, AC Joliba of Mali. So that's actually how the results panned out. They've come out that way. So these teams have a lot to do. They need to work hard to ensure that they qualify for the second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup, respectively. Now, that will take place next month. But some of these teams have a mountain to climb. Rivers United, I think they're sailing through. 4-0 is an insurmountable mountain, if you ask me, for a team of their quality. But, yes, but Remo Stars, they have a goal. Rivers United have a goalless draw. It's still dicey, neither here nor there. Abia Warriors with a 1-1 draw, pretty much the same.
Game is still open.
Just still open, get a win. It is Kwara United. Well, it's not dead and buried. It's still, because it's very tight. Just better the result. Better this result. Exactly. A 4-3 loss is not the end of the day, but better the result. That's what it takes. So, really, who are you, if you were a gambling man? Who would you be putting your money on? What? I said, if I don't know now. I'm not assuming.
I'm not.
Who are you tipping to go through from these four? That's number one. And then, assuming you say that all four, that is Remo Stars, Rivers United, Abia Warriors, and Kwara United, will go through, what degrees of difficulty are they going to have going through to the next round?
Okay, I'm giving Remo Stars the go-ahead already. 4-0, right?
Yes, 4-0.
Who was at home?
That's Remo Stars
was at home. No,
yes.
There's. I don't think there's no coming. I don't think there's a coming back there. So I'm already. I just see Remo Stars pushing through to the next round.
Remo Stars.
Then Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors. It's tight, like we said, but I'm optimistic that Abia Warriors, because I'm
an Abia.
Exactly. As an Abia person, so I wish them good luck. And Abia Warriors, you can do it. Yeah. So Abia Warriors, I'm moving forward there. Rivers United, Finny the George. Okay. I can't. So let me just put it. It's a 50-50 game. I can't really say much there. Then Kwara United, who lost by 4-3. It was just a goal deficit. There's still possibility. I'm optimistic. I'm seeing out of 100, I'm seeing a 60%. Should I say 60% probability, a 60% chance of going into the next round.
So by your calculation now, the team that might fall by the wayside is Kwara United, because for it to be 60%, that means there'll be some casualties. No, I mean
Yeah,
that might be the case.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Let's hope not, because we are Nigerians,
Yeah,
we are
yeah,
patriots.
please,
We want
yeah.
to see our teams
Push
represent.
forward. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
because there is still a second qualifying round, second preliminary round, assuming they scale this hurdle. We are hoping that they do the needful and scale the hurdle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's what we can take for the CAF Champions League. Sorry, we can't call other results right now. We choose not to, because we are blindly Nigerian. So please, we just had to talk about the results that concern us, because these are clubs that are in the Nigerian Premier Football League, and we're unapologetic about pointing out their chances. Sorry about that if you read any wrong meaning into that. But all the same, we have a lot to cover. We'll be right back after these messages. We are going to move out of Africa and go to other continents and talk about the drama. That's drama boku. Seriously, in other parts of the world, in Europe especially. You don't want to touch that there. Stick around. We'll be right back after these messages. You're welcome back to the Afia Sports Review Show on Afia TV. Frequencies are still the same. They have not changed. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 17 Go TV, and Channel 748 Free TV. Welcome back. This is CC the Rabbi, your man, and I'm still here with the definitor himself, Divine Onwuka.
Thank you.
And we are moving straight to Europe to talk about the European leagues, particularly the English Premier League. In the EPL, we had action and dramatic action. In fact, you might even say melodramatic action in some grounds. Now, the EPL, English Premier League, we had round of five. That's round five. That's match week 5. It began with the early kickoff with the Merseyside derby. Liverpool doing what they know how to do best lately, winning Everton 2-1 in the first Merseyside derby of the season. And the Wolverhampton Wanderers losing at home to Leeds United 3-1. And Burnley and Nottingham Forest had a 1-1 draw. They had to share spoils. West Ham United lost to Crystal Palace in another London derby 2-1, piling much pressure on Graham Potter. That man seems to be Harry Potter. He might disappear very, very soon from the managerial landscape in England. Then Brighton and Hove Albion had a 2-2 draw with Tottenham Hotspur. Then the main action began that evening when Manchester United, yes, some people are celebrating because even though they had a man advantage for a long time, Man United got themselves a 2-1 win over Chelsea Football Club, and the bragging rights belong to Man United for now until the visit to Stamford Bridge. It was a needless red card, professional last man that Robert Sanchez, the goalkeeper, got himself sent off for a very, very silly foul, got a straight red card, tipped the game in the balance, tipped the balance of the scales in favor of Man United, and United were 2-0 up at one point there. Goals by the two Portuguese-speaking players, referring to the Portuguese international, Bruno Fernandes, the captain, and then Casemiro, the Brazilian, scoring. But Casemiro moved from being hero to zero and then got himself a second yellow card, which was a red card, only for Chalobah to score in the 80th minute and then make it a nervy finish. But Man United came out, not necessarily unscathed, but at least they came out with a win. So that was a big one there for Man United. Then Fulham beat Brentford in another London derby, 3-1. Alex Iwobi scored one of the goals. That is our boy indeed. Then Sunderland, a 10-man Sunderland. No, red cards were flying left, right, centre. I don't know why this weekend. But Sunderland, a 10-man Sunderland, could muster a 1-1 draw against Aston Villa. Then, of course, we had Bournemouth against Newcastle United, goalless draw. And then the last game of the weekend was an exciting 1-1 draw at the Emirates Stadium, where Arsenal Football Club had to leave it late, very, very late, in the 3rd minute of stoppage time with a beautiful lob over Gianluigi Donnarumma by Gabriel Martinelli, the substitute who came off the bench, also fed by a fellow substitute, Eberechi Eze, and then he scored that goal. So no victor, no vanquished. But it was a very, very funny game indeed, because for the first time by his own admission, Pep Guardiola, for the first time in his managerial career, he said for the first time in 10 years that he packed the bus. He said he has played defensively. And if you check it, apart from the fact that Mikel Arteta has now become the first manager in the history of football to go 5 games unbeaten against Pep Guardiola, the Pep Guardiola-led side. And then again, you check out that this was the worst possession stats that Manchester City ever had under Pep Guardiola. And that was not just Man City, Pep Guardiola generally. It was a 32.8% possession that Man City had against Arsenal. So they played defensive. Yeah, they got the first goal, Erling Haaland in the 9th minute. Then before Martinelli scored that goal. What's your take home from that game? Because it seemed a draw was a fair result.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it was a fair result. But there are other dynamics and nuances in that game that some people need to be aware of. What's your take, your honest assessment of that game, and what could have been done better from either side?
Okay, when Man City actually scored, I thought there would be like, okay, we've scored, we've gotten the advantage, let's all move out and, suppress that kind. That is a typical Guardiola kind of thing. Once he scores you first, he moves out on you.
He goes for the kill.
Exactly, because he wants to score more goals to kill the game and, bring the morals of his opponents down, whether he's home or away. But we can see that Arteta was kind of tactical, seeing what was happening and seeing that he's at home. He was like, okay, let's go at it, guys. Let's go at it. The only problem was Arsenal were just missing chances. But possession-wise, like you said, and like what we saw in the game, Arsenal had everything. That game was just Arsenal's game. It was literally Arsenal's game by possession and by coordination. Like Rodri was in the midfield, but we were not seeing the Rodri that we wanted to see. Like Arsenal just took everything until Eberechieze. Now that was a very wonderful pass, by the way. He gave it to Martinelli, and then Martinelli lobbed it over Donnarumma. I actually want to say Donnarumma should have just stayed on his line. I don't know what he came out to do.
Typical coulda, woulda, shoulda.
He shouldn't have just come out. He should have just stayed on his line. Let him get very well into the box, then he can come out and charge. But it is what it is. You don't know what he was thinking there that made him actually leave his line. Because if he had left his line, maybe, just maybe, Arsenal might not have equalized, because that goal came at the 90 plus 3 minutes. Everyone's adrenaline was all pumped up. Man City was eager to defend, and okay, if it is this 1-0 we have, let's maintain it. Arsenal was like, no, we can't lose this game. Let's just get at least a draw. There's no time. So everyone's adrenaline was high. So Donnarumma probably maybe in the plight of not conceding, he had to do what he felt was best at that particular point in time. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know, because in football, games are won and lost, or points are dropped because of defensive errors.
Yeah, exactly.
Always. You can never discount defensive errors. I don't know what's that. Okay, now letting just one more point before we go to the next point. Okay. You mentioned the issue of Eberechieze coming on. He was brilliant. And I mentioned the fact that Pep Guardiola was on the wrong end of the masterclass, basically possession masterclass from Arsenal, from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal side. But what do you think Mikel Arteta could have done better? Like, some were clamoring for Eze to have started that game ab initio, that if Eze had started, and maybe even Martinelli, who is now enjoying a rich vein of form, at least confidence is what built. This is his second goal in as many games after the Champions League goal this last weekend against Atletico Bilbao. Now, what do you think Mikel Arteta should have done better? What selection should have been there? Some even say that Mosquera should have continued. Saliba shouldn't have started, because if you check it very well, not saying anything against Saliba, that Saliba was partly at fault for Haaland's goal, because Saliba was, in fairness to him, he was marking two people at the same time. He had to choose between Tijani Reinders and then Haaland, but he marked Reinders, but couldn't stop Reinders from passing the ball to Haaland, who then had enough space to score. So some feel that Mosquera, even in his young Arsenal career, may not have made that mistake. But your expert view, what do you think Mikel Arteta got wrong and should have done better?
I'm not even blaming Mikel Arteta based on the goal that he conceded early. I'm more on Saliba marking two Man City players.
So should they have marked Haaland and left Tijani Reinders? That's the question I'm asking now.
My own question based on this is, who was supposed to be with Saliba there? Saliba wasn't the only defender on the field, for crying out loud. There were 4 defenders, I'm sure.
And Gabriel Magalhaes was there. The backline was there. But talking about that's the build up to the goal at that point. Saliba was, in his view, he had Reinders on this side and then Haaland on that side. So he chose, sometimes defenders find themselves in that kind of tricky situation where they have two dangerous players, but they normally anticipate one of those players. Say, okay, I have a better chance of preventing a goal if I stay close to this person. So let me take my chances with this one. So some feel that he made the wrong call. He should have gummed close. He should have put Haaland off balance.
That's what I was about to say, because we all know Haaland is the point man.
Yes.
Should I say 80% of all chances are being dropped because Haaland is in position to score. He has been the talisman for Man City, as in the scoring ace for Man City since when he entered Man City. Literally, he has been the one banging in most of the goals for Man City. So, given that position, given that point, given that kind of situation, I think he should have gone for Haaland, because you know that there is 90% probability, there's 90% tendency that pass, that ball will be laid for Haaland to score. And we all know Haaland, in such situations like that, I won't say he doesn't miss, but he hardly misses. So for me, it was a mistake on Saliba's side. He should have gone for Haaland, but you never can tell. Like we said in Donnaruma's situation, you don't know what he was thinking at that point. He did what he felt was best for the team and for himself. So at that point, Saliba felt, okay, I just have a hunch. Maybe Haaland just ran in there to deceive. You know, there's a way, this football thing of a thing. Maybe Messi can just run in and the defenders, oh, Messi's running, follow him. Messi runs in and then maybe he now makes space for someone like Suarez, and then Suarez just scores the goal. So maybe probably Haaland might have just been there to deceive Saliba or to deceive others, to make them think he will get the ball and then make space. So maybe that was what Saliba felt. We can't tell, we might never know, but that could be what he was thinking.
Okay, I guess we'll never know about that one too. Yeah. But I think fair enough. No, all square in that game. There are wonderful games over the weekend in the EPL and other leagues. No, for want of time, we'll not take the other ones. But we'll be right back in a few seconds after this break, because something big is happening tonight by 8 p.m. The FIFA, scratch that, not FIFA. The Balon d'Or, the French magazine, are the ones organizing the Balon d'Or 2025, where Rodri will officially hand over his title. Who is going to be the winner? That's for the males. Of course, the females are not left out because you have big names that are there. We will find out who the contenders and maybe even pretenders are by the time we return from this break. Stick around, don't touch that dial. You're welcome back to the final leg of the Afia Sports review show on Afia TV. The frequencies are still the same and they will not change. They are not changing. 748 Free TV, 254 DSTV, 17 Go TV. And we are here ending the show with some very, very important bits of news. Of course, the Divinator is here with me, Sisi the Rabbi. And tonight, by 8 p.m., the Balon d'Or ceremony will be taking place tonight in Paris, in Théâtre de Paris. There's a bit of controversy that's even there, because tonight by 7 p.m., under normal circumstances, according to the fixture list that have been released earlier, the biggest game in French League football, is meant to kick off by 7 p.m. How they intend to do it, I don't know, but it's going to be an issue. But when we get that bridge, we'll cross it. I'm referring to Le Classique, where Olympique Marseille at the Stade Vélodrome will be playing host to the defending champions of France and Europe, talking about Paris Saint-Germain. That's the biggest game in the French Ligue 1. But we know that this evening, tonight from 8 p.m., that PSG is going to be a major feature for different reasons, because there are a number of contenders. First of all, PSG are in line, or from all indications, to win the best team of the year. They are one of the contenders, top contenders for best team of the year. Their manager, Luis Enrique, is also one of the top contenders for best manager of the year. They have a litter of players that are big contenders for best player of the year, referring to people like Vitinha, people like Pedro Neves, people like Desiree Doué, people like Achraf Hakimi. But of course, the man who leads the line in terms of the contenders, the main person who everybody has their eyes on has to be Ousmane Dembele, the former Barcelona wing forward who had a stellar season last time around, scoring 35 goals and racking up 16 assists in all competitions last season. But funnily enough, his closest competitor, according to reports, which are not confirmed, is Lamine Yamal, the teenage wonder kid of Barcelona, who grabbed himself his own fair share of goals, 18 goals and 25 assists in all competitions last season. But looking at all the contenders, that's for the male circuit. We have people like Dembele, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha is also involved. Mohamed Salah is not left out. One of the highest ranking Africans that's there. We're going to see which of them will have a better chance. That's Mohamed Salah and Ashraf Hakimi. But for the females, we have a good number of names of people who are likely to who are going to be contenders. The England squad that won the Euros, you had a good number of them who are also Arsenal players like Leah Williamson, people like Alessia Russo, people like Chloe Kelly. You also had Aitana Bonmati, who plays for Spain and then also Arsenal. You had the perennial contender in Alessias Putellas. A good number of them there. But also we are pleased to say that one of the contenders for the Yassine Trophy, that is the best goalkeeper trophy for females, is Chiamaka Nnadozie. Yes, who now plays for Brighton and Hove Albion in England. So what 8 p.m. are we going to be surprised, or are we going to see awards that are well deserved? Because you see, Balon d'Or. I'm not talking about that. I didn't say anything though, but you know what I mean.
Okay, you want me to say something? All right, cool.
You can say it on my behalf, no problem.
Okay, first of all, I'll say this. There's nothing else that happens in football now that is kind of a surprise for any of us. Yeah, we just, at this point, even whether it's on the field of play or whether it's in a room, a ceremonial event, all we now do now is just sit and watch. Whatever happens, we take it up like that. We just swallow it up and move on.
Casual, yeah.
Exactly. It's very simple as that. So I'll tell you this. Let me just drop it as an advice to our viewers here. Anything that you see that happens shouldn't be a surprise to you, okay? Just sit, relax, and watch. If you want to get angry, get angry. If you want to smile, smile. But please, don't be surprised at whatever awards and whoever player that takes up the award. Thank you.
Okay, so the drama will play out. Just to corroborate what he's saying, there's bound to be drama tonight. There's no doubt about that. So I would have given you my short plug for popcorn, but I don't eat popcorn, unfortunately. So you just, because there's going to be a lot of drama tonight, you will be surprised, I can assure you. I don't know which department, but you'll be surprised. So we end the show right now, moving on to athletics. The World Championships in Tokyo just concluded yesterday, and it was very, very exciting. Maybe not from a Nigerian perspective, because not too much was won. The highest profile medal that was won was silver, and that was by the Amazon herself, Tobi Amusan, who won the silver medal in the 100 meters hurdles event, and we are proud of her. She should have done better, but I mean, she's the world record holder, but we're proud, 12.29 seconds. But there is one man that stole the hearts of many. He broke a long-standing 38-year jinx in terms of Nigerians reaching the final, a Nigerian athlete reaching the finals of a 400 meters hurdles event, referring to Ezekiel Nathaniel. It had not been done since 1987 in Rome, but he did that. He got to the semi-finals, got to the finals, I beg your pardon. But in the finals, after much drama, which I don't want to talk about because it was so annoying, he almost got a medal. In fact, he was almost awarded a bronze medal after somebody was disqualified. But next, after protest, the guy was reinstated and then he dropped down to fourth. But all the same, silver linings and all, he finished fourth, but still set a new Nigerian national record of 47.11 seconds. Now that is, we're proud of him. He didn't get a medal, but we're proud of him.
Exactly.
That's one for the future.
Exactly.
Massive athlete. We had one or two good athletes there, like Udo, the Onzurike in 200 meters, who fell short, but he's still a young man. And hopefully, when we get things right in the athletic sector, maybe we'll have more athletes that will perform, especially since there's a bitter pill in our mouths after FIFA Phillies, the campaign to Turkey. For obvious reasons.
All right, let's just see how it goes. It's the future is bright. That one is sure.
I hope
so. We'll just let them just keep their heads up. We are going to see a better Nigeria in the athletic world and in the football world and the world of sports at large. So let's just keep encouraging them. And as Nigeria gets better, our sports sector is going to get better as well.
Okay, I hope so. I hope everything is all right. But hope is not a business strategy. But all the same, we're grateful to God for all things. And we're grateful to God for bringing us to the end of this Afia Sports review show on Afia TV. Thank you very, very much for being with us. Divine Onwuka, thank you very much for being a sport, as usual, doing what you do here. Thank you to everybody here, the floor managers, the production crew, MCR and PCR, our producers, everybody who's been involved in making this a success. Thank you. Without you, we'll do nothing. We can't do nothing. So we will meet again. Of course, I'm very sure you know that there will be figurative blood on the platform on Thursday. The banter box is coming on Thursday. You don't want to miss the banter box on Thursday by 5 p.m. where it's going to be bloody. It's going to be bloody, I can assure you. But till then, have a blessed day ahead. I'm CC the Rabbi, and I'm signing out.